welcome back. So, as we know that Python is an object-oriented language, everything in it is an object and every object has its associated properties and methods. So, let's learn about this in more detail and understand what are classes and what are objects. So, till now, whatever we did, we were only using inbuilt data types like integer, float, string. Now, what if you want to create your own data type? What if you want to have your own properties and methods which are not part of any package or library, but still you want to access it or you want to create it? So let's have a look at how we can achieve that. So let's assume you have an application wherein you deal with student details and you need to have some properties associated with the student like name, age, contact details, and you also have a requirement to fetch student details based on some student ID. So to deal with all these scenario, we need to create our own custom data type which is called as student here. So if you look at the pseudocode here, you will see that student is a high level entity and rest all are associated with this. So you can say that student is a container, even you can say it is a blueprint for your understanding. So for your understanding, whatever name you are giving, it doesn't matter, but in technical terms, in OOPS term, this concept is called a class. So here student is a class. Let's look at some more details. So here student is a class and name, age, contact details and the function which I have defined. These are the members of the class. But if you will look at the name, age and contact, we will call it as the properties in terms of object oriented, and this is the member function, get list of students. Now if you want to create the object of this class or if you want to use this class, we need some variable which is representing this class. So this is how we can do it over here. So we need to create an object of the class which we have just defined, and once object is created, everything will go as how we are dealing with our inbuilt data types. So once this object is created, there is nothing fancy we are doing and everything is like the way we were doing earlier. So let's have a look at how we can create class and how we can use it. So I am on my Jupyter notebook. So the very first thing, if you want to create a class, is you need to define a class. So for that you have to use class keyword. So class is the keyword and here you need to define the name of your class. So class is a keyword and student is the name of that class. So it means my new data type which I am talking about is of name student. Now say it has one property and it is name. So now let's say if you want to access this class or this property, how will you do that? So first of all, we need to create an object of this class. So object can be done using variable name equal sign and then your class with a brackets. So as of now, let's try to understand this thing. Quickly we will do a deep dive, and here I want to access the name of the class, so I will just go and do this. So you can see that variable is created and using that variable we are able to fetch the details which are part of our new data type which is class. So this is how you can do it, and this is the simplest form of how we can define and use any class. But in real application, we need to handle many more complex scenarios. We cannot go ahead and simply assign default values to some property. So how to handle those complex scenarios? We need to understand a function called init. So init is an inbuilt function. Let's try to understand that. So I will grab the same class definition again. So this is our class and I would rather go ahead and add one more property, say age 12. So I'm going to introduce you with a new function called init, which is an inbuilt function and will be part of your class definition. So let's go ahead and define that. So def is the keyword which you need to use, and here you need to define init like this using two I would say hyphens. And here the first thing would be self, and then you define all the properties, what property values, whatever you're interested in. So let's say name, student name I can say, and here I can say student age. As this is function, we need to put colon here, and we need to take care of indentation. Now self is the keyword which is representing this class itself. So let's say self dot, and here we need to define the actual properties what we want to associate with this class. So self dot name this, and similarly self dot age is this. Now we have some values which are passed from outside world, because it's not necessary that every time we will initialize some default values or the values which are defined. So rather we need to use the one which are being passed to our class. So we will quickly copy it here, and this is how your class looks like. Let's quickly go ahead and use it. So student, and here you can pass two parameters, let's say Shweta, and age you can say 12. So the reason why I'm passing only two, because there are only two parameters this class is taking, and self is representing to itself. So here init is a function which is defined using the def keyword, and all the classes should have these functions. And the most important thing to note is this function will get executed whenever the class is being instantiated. Instantiated means whenever you are constructing an object the way we are doing it here. So this is called the instantiation process. And in next line you can see that whatever we are doing are we are just using the assignment operator, which means that whatever values outside world is passing to my variables, I am just assigning it to my local properties. That's it. So here student Shweta and 12. So this property I have assigned, this I have assigned. Let's quickly go ahead and print this out. So we can say s dot. Now if you want to print the age or name, you need to use these property, because these are the ones which are associated with your class. And you can see that we are successfully able to print the Shweta. Similarly, you can write age and you will see output is a 12. So this is the skeleton which you have to fit in your mind, the way we will define our classes. Now let's talk about some of the custom functions which we will be using, or which we may need to add as per our business needs. So let's add some function here. So I will be reusing the same class everywhere. So this is my class, and here I need to define a function. So I will use def keyword, and I will say get age. So I want to fetch the age of the object which is assigned here. And here we can simply say return self dot age. Now let's try to use this. So I'm going to instantiate this class student, and here I am giving Shweta and value is 12. Now let's say you want to make a call this function. How you can make a call? So s dot get age. So it will return you some age. You can just hold it in some variable here and just go ahead and print it. So you can see that we made a call to this function and we are able to get the response. So whatever the age this variable is holding here, it will just return it as an output. So this is the way how you can create functions which are part of your class. Now here self parameter, more you need to understand is a self parameter is a reference to the current instance of the class. That's why we are passing this self, means whenever the object of this class is used, you can just make a call to this. And that's the reason I am saying self is a parameter which is a reference to the current instance of the class. Now here self is just a variable name. you can use any other name also. So let's say if you want to use something like my, you can go ahead and use it my. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to go with only self. You can go with any, it's just a variable name basically. Or you can say a placeholder which will represent this class. That's it. So maybe I can quickly show you that part also. So let's copy this thing again, and here instead of self we can say my obj, which is my object, and I will just copy it everywhere. This is, I just want to show you that self is not a keyword which you need to use. It's just a variable which is representing this. And here I can say let's say obj and obj, and let's print this again. So you can see that although I have replaced self with this, here I'm not even taking my obj, I'm taking some third variable altogether, and it is still able to return me the expected output. So this is the one more concept which you need to keep it in your mind. So till here we have covered the fundamentals of a class and its object. And now so you want to update a value of any property. So let's say instead of s is holding Shweta, you want something else like s dot name equal to something Pranjal. Now if I will go ahead and print s dot name, I will see Pranjal. So it means whenever you want to update or assign the value, you can simply use the property name and then assign the value. Say you want to delete the object of a class. For that you can say del. Del is the keyword which you can use, and just define the object of your class. So it is deleted. Now if I will go ahead and say type s, it will say that s is not defined because we have just deleted one step above. So these are the basic things I think you may need in order to get started with Python. And in next video I will talk about inheritance and how we can define the class hierarchy. Till then, keep watching. Thank you.